Hello students. So we had completed the first two paragraphs from your poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. Now let us continue from the third paragraph. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their maps with slums as big as doom. So, in this paragraph, the sorrowful mood, the melancholy of the poet suddenly becomes aggressive, and he blames the legendary literary figure Shakespeare. He says that surely Shakespeare is wicked, and he calls map a bad example. He says so because the wisdom of Shakespeare and the beauty of literature does not hold any value for these hungry poor souls. And also the scenic beauty that is portrayed, that is depicted on the maps, cannot lessen their sufferings. So for these slum children, the literary excellence is an impossible thing to be achieved, and hence they say that Shakespeare appears to them as wicked. Now about the map on the wall gives them false aspirations, false desires and hope, as it makes them aware of the beautiful world given by God. And the sad part is that the world of these children is confined to the narrow streets of the slum. They won't be ever able to discover the world outside these slums where they live. Therefore, map is a bad example. So, the children in the slum feel cheated in being deprived of the exciting, beautiful sensations given to us by the nature, like the sun, the scenic beauty of ships, and also the emotions of love. They are all deprived of all these feelings. So the ship, sun and love, these all symbolize joy and happiness, which these children are deprived of, as their only experience is that of hunger. The only experience which they have is of hunger and poverty. So in order to reach out to the world beyond, these children are sometimes tempted to adapt wrong means. What they do, they sometimes are tempted to steal things in order to fulfill their dreams. It is said, love tempting them to steal, which means they sometimes, in order to fulfill their dreams, they tend to steal things. Then the poet says, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. So the poet here says that these slum children live in cramped holes. Cramped holes here means a place clogged due to lack of space. So these children live in places which are very small and dirty and also occupied with various other people, and they actually struggle for their survival over there. Then fog to endless night, it means that the children in the slum don't have a bright future, and their days to come are dark, foggy and endless, and they're going to be full of despair, because of the lack of amenities, because of the lack of opportunities in their life. Then further the poet says that the slum children live on slag heaps. Slag heap means that these slum kids live on piles of waste material, and here in this line, on their slag heap these children wear skins peeped through by bones. Okay, so here they live there or they sleep there over the slag heaps, over that pile of waste material, and their world is full of dirt and garbage. Now these children are also are said to be so weak and undernourished that they look like skeletons, and it seems that their bones peep through their thin skin. So even their bones are visible through their thin skin. They are so weak and undernourished. Further, then it is told that they wear spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. So now these mended glass are the discarded spectacles by the rich people. Now here mended means the repaired and worn out spectacles. So now the life of these children is like bottle bits on stones, which means their life is shattered and it is broken and scattered like bits of bottle when they are scattered over the stones. So their life is also like bits on stones. Okay, it's all scattered over the stones. Okay, miserable condition of their life. So the poet's frustration reaches its peak now when he suggests that since the entire life of these children is restricted with hazy, foggy slums, so the beautiful scenic graphics which are presented there on the map displayed in their classroom walls, that should be blotted. Okay, so slums are the reality. See, we all know that some slums are the reality of these children. It is their home where they spend their entire life. So the maps which are displayed in their classroom are no reality for them. They cannot locate their slum in that map. It has various other locations, but no map does locate a slum area. So the slum is like a blot, a mark as big as doom on maps of these children. It is urgently, the poet is trying to tell us, the readers also, that it is urgently required to give these slum inhabitants some means and opportunities to lead a decent, dignified and civilized life. Further we'll read, unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields, and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books the white and green leaves open history theirs whose language is the sun. Now the anger shown by the poet above, in the above paragraph, softens a bit in this stanza, and he appeals to the governor, inspector and the other visitors who come and visit these schools to come and make some effort and visit these schools and to improve the condition of these schools and the children. Now the reality is that the infrastructure of all these schools in the slum is very poor, and there is hardly any serious teaching done in those schools. So the poet wants the civilized world, the civilized population, to bridge this gap between them and the world of these children. Okay, to do something good for these children, for the betterment of these children. Now for that, the poet says that they should offer these children a glimpse of a better world. Okay, glimpse of a better world, so that the maps which are displayed there in the classroom may become their window to the beautiful and charming world outside, which means again that the maps should then make some sense to them, that it is when they are given the opportunity to experience the world outside, it is only then when they'll be able to understand the various places which are marked there on the map displayed in their classrooms. So then these windows of, he says that then these windows of the elementary school classroom, which limits all their hopes and dreams, it must be broken, so that these children can be brought out into the green fields under the blue sky. Azure, run azure on gold sand again means that under the blue sky they should be let free, they should be given freedom to run under the blue sky in the green fields, away from that filthy slum area, that filthy surroundings where they live. Away from that, they should be given freedom to move ahead out in the outside world. Now the poet says, shut upon their lives like catacombs. Okay, shut upon their lives like catacombs. He means that since these kids are confined to the slums, their lives are shut up in the cemeteries of these slums, very limited place they have, and they are deprived of all the opportunities and means, amenities. Now the poet hopes that these children will one day break free from their sick life, okay, their monotonous filthy life. From the chains of the slums they'll be able to free themselves. So the poet is visualizing freedom for these children, and that he also wishes that they should be allowed to make their own worlds. And how is it possible? When they would be given chance to experience these spontaneous joys like running under the blue sky or golden sand. Okay, only then, when they'll be able to experience things, then only they'll be able to learn themselves. Now the poet also demands that they should be allowed to read freely, again here in these lines, and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open history theirs, whose language is the sun. Now the poet demands that they should be allowed to read freely from books, as well as learn from the nature. So they should be given freedom to read from the books, and also to experience things or learn things from the nature. Not only rote learning, but also learning through their own experience from the nature by practicing. Now he wants a carefree life where these kids and their families could get some economic and social justice, where they have the right to be happy and to enjoy their life. Now these slum children should be able to enjoy. In reality also, these slum children, they are in such a poor condition that the poet is also demanding here, he is also he hopes that these children should be able to enjoy the fundamental right of education, otherwise their lives will be miserable. And this is the reality. If a person is not educated, he or she might not be able to achieve that much success or knowledge or experience, that we can say. Now at the end, from here, history theirs, whose language is the sun. Now here the poet ends this poem on a very positive note. See here, the sun which is mentioned, the sun is symbolic of grace, the light of hope, light of God. So here it refers to the light of education. Now the poet strongly feels that it is the educated alone which can transform the world. Okay, and this is the fact. Only education can lead to transformation. Now the poet wants opportunities to be available to these children because he believes that if these children are allowed to discover, then their creative genius will earn them a place in history. Now the people who strive, he also says that the people who actually strive for knowledge are the ones who create history, and also the ones who are let free. Once you people are let free and you people are allowed to experience things on your own and create your own things, then only you create history. So people who outshine others, who glow like the sun, who break free from the constraints of their restricted life wherein one is not given plenty of opportunities, those people are the ones who create history. This is what is the hidden meaning here of the last few lines, that only education can lead you to break free from these restrictions. Now I want you all to reread this entire poem very carefully. Mark the difficult words and keep your doubts for the next session. Also, if you get time, go through the question answers that are given over here. The questions that are given over here, we would be also discussing the answers for the same in the next session. Thank you.